Now, let's get into our structure. Guys, how did we explain scope management in predictive projects? We used processes, okay? Here were the processes that we covered for scope management in predictive projects. We said our team in predictive projects need to take a clear set of steps to deal with scope in predictive projects. And these were the processes, okay? And for each process, we started off with an intro, then we had mini terms, and then mini goal, and then mini lessons equipped with mini question, and then mini FAQs, mini summaries. Okay, for each process, we had it. Now, for adaptive part, I want to explain concepts in, again, structured way. But since we don't use processes, because it's adaptive projects, processes are for predictive projects, okay, how should I structure things? Because there are lots of new concepts that are related to adaptive projects, but I don't want to explain concepts just in a messy way. No, I want to make it organized. Now, to make concepts and explain them in a very structured and organized way, I have divided adaptive projects into 8 parts. Okay? So guys, you're gonna see these 8 parts for all pieces of the project, not just scope. So you're gonna see these 8 parts in schedule also, cost also, resources, communication, stakeholders, quality, procurement, risk, every piece of the project. What are those 8 parts? Part number 1 is team foundation. So in this part, okay, I'm gonna talk about the things, the foundational concepts that team needs to know about that piece of the project. For example, team foundation for scope part means, okay, what should team, your project, agile team, your adaptive team needs to know about scoping agile projects. Okay, so we build a culture there in that part of the tutorial. Now, in the second part, it is called customer needs. So we collect customer needs, all of their needs. Okay. So third part is product backlog. What will go on with product backlog? Because product backlog in adaptive project is the most important document. Guys, in predictive projects, we had lots of documents, okay? In scope, just scope, we had a scope management plan, then WBS, scope statement, scope baseline, just for scope. But if you consider all pieces together, they're gonna be like 50 documents, okay? But in adaptive projects, we wouldn't have those 50 documents, no. We will only have few documents, and the most important document is product backlog document. Okay, that's why I put just one separate part for product backlog, because we're gonna work on product backlog for every piece of the project. The fourth part is sprint planning. From now on, the sprint activities will start, and we're gonna talk about, okay, what will happen in sprint planning for example, the scope part of the project, since we are in scope. And when you see sprint planning in schedule, you're going to see, okay, what happens in sprint planning for schedule part of the project, okay? The fifth part is sprint execution, then sprint review, sprint retrospective, and product release. Now, one important thing, guys, if you are confused now, if you're like, Nev, what are you talking about? Why would you divide agile products into 8 parts? Why don't you just explain concepts? After a hardcore research, I found out that the most efficient way to teach something is to put it in organized and structured way. So your mind is now know, okay, what will happen in scope part of the project, for example, in sprint execution part. Like, it is organized in your mind. Okay, and guys, one more thing. If you don't understand concept, do not stop. Continue, because that concept will definitely be repeated again and again in the future. Okay, so if you find something, some concept, some anything, okay, anything confusing, do not stop. Continue the tutorial, because you're gonna learn it again in the future. Okay, this is a very important point. Now, a question, Nav, do we have those mini goal, mini terms, mini summary, mini FAQs, mini lessons, mini question for these 8 different parts in adaptive projects? Yes. So for every part of the our adaptive project, for every part, we're gonna see mini goal, we're gonna see mini term, then mini goal, then we're gonna have mini lessons, mini questions, mini FAQs, and mini summary. So we will be super ready. Okay, now let's dig into first part of the scope management in adaptive projects. Let's see, okay, what happens in team foundation part? What will we learn? What concepts of adaptive projects, scope management in adaptive projects we will learn in this part of the tutorial? Let's dig in.